Restore justice has been my water in a dry and weary land since I have been incarcerated. News about the fight for justice has been few, and somebody to fight that fight has at times seemed non-existent. But every time I seemed to be running low on strength and will to keep going, Restore Justice was there. So I kept fighting because you all kept fighting. Now, I've just been informed that the Exoneration Project wants to take my case. Thanks for the hope. Sincerely, Antoine Johnson. Restore justice means I'm not alone. RJ fighting for us is like being in a 12-round fight for the heavyweight championship and not having anyone in your corner for the first 6 rounds. And in the 7th round, RJ shows up in my corner when I think the fight is over. I now realize that I have a chance at life outside these walls, and the 50-year sentence that the courts gave this 16-year-old boy, telling me that my life doesn't mean a thing, you all let me know I have a life worth living. Thanks for being in our corner, RJ. You all are very appreciated. Sincerely, Diorte Mowry. My name is Markeith Reynolds Jr. I've been incarcerated since the young age of 15. I am now 22 and serving a 20-year sentence. Restore justice is important for those that are incarcerated. It represents rehabilitation, second chances, and opportunity. It also is a voice that speaks for the incarcerated, that gives hope to the hopeless, that belief in people who have made mistakes in life that led them to prison. Restore justice is for a better future. With sincere thanks, Markeith Reynolds Jr. Restore justice has been my water in a dry and weary land since I have been incarcerated. News about the fight for justice has been few, and somebody to fight that fight has at times seemed non-existent. But every time I seemed to be running low on strength and will to keep going, Restore Justice was there. So I kept fighting because you all kept fighting. Now, I've just been informed that the Exoneration Project wants to take my case. Thanks for the hope. Sincerely, Antoine Johnson. Restore justice means I'm not alone. RJ fighting for us is like being in a 12-round fight for the heavyweight championship and not having anyone in your corner for the first 6 rounds. And in the 7th round, RJ shows up in my corner when I think the fight is over. I now realize that I have a chance at life outside these walls, and the 50-year sentence that the courts gave this 16-year-old boy, telling me that my life doesn't mean a thing, you all let me know I have a life worth living. Thanks for being in our corner, RJ. You all are very appreciated. Sincerely, Diorte Mowry. My name is Markeith Reynolds Jr. I've been incarcerated since the young age of 15. I am now 22 and serving a 20-year sentence. Restored justice is important for those that are incarcerated. It represents rehabilitation, second chances, and opportunity. It also is a voice that speaks for the incarcerated, that gives hope to the hopeless, that belief in people who have made mistakes in life that led them to prison. Restored justice is for a better future. With sincere thanks, Markeith Reynolds, Jr. Restore justice has been my water in a dry and weary land since I have been incarcerated. News about the fight for justice has been few, and somebody to fight that fight has at times seemed non-existent. But every time I seemed to be running low on strength and will to keep going, Restore Justice was there. So I kept fighting because you all kept fighting. Now, I've just been informed that the Exoneration Project wants to take my case. Thanks for the hope. Sincerely, Antoine Johnson. Restore justice means I'm not alone. RJ fighting for us is like being in a 12-round fight for the heavyweight championship and not having anyone in your corner for the first 6 rounds. And in the 7th round, RJ shows up in my corner when I think the fight is over. I now realize that I have a chance at life outside these walls, and the 50-year sentence that the courts gave this 16-year-old boy, telling me that my life doesn't mean a thing, you all let me know I have a life worth living. Thanks for being in our corner, RJ. You all are very appreciated. Sincerely, Diorte Mowry. My name is Markeith Reynolds Jr. I've been incarcerated since the young age of 15. I am now 22 and serving a 20-year sentence. Restore justice is important for those that are incarcerated. It represents rehabilitation, second chances, and opportunity. It also is a voice that speaks for the incarcerated, that gives hope to the hopeless, that belief in people who have made mistakes in life that led them to prison. Restore justice is for a better future. With sincere thanks, Markeith Reynolds Jr.
Welcome to Stories of Second Chances. Thank you for joining us on this December day. I wish we could be together in person, and I think we'll just have to settle for being together in spirit. Every day, myself, my staff, our board, all of our supporters are standing up for one simple thing: our shared humanity. The Illinois criminal legal system is cruel and often unfair. We really want to unpack that for you today, the human experience behind Illinois sentencing laws and today's prison conditions, and help bring us back to compassion. So first, Wendell Robinson is going to lead a conversation with 4 other men who have spent decades in Illinois prisons, and then Julie Anderson, who is a mother of a young man who's incarcerated, and will have a conversation with 4 other women whose sons have been in Illinois prisons for decades. We really hope that this conversation helps shed some light on not just what's wrong, but on some of the hope we can have coming into the future.
My name is Wendell Robinson, Program Manager, Restore Justice Foundation, a role I assumed just over a year ago. I'm a former juvenile lifer. I served just over 25 years for crimes that occurred when I was 17 years old. For many years, I had the opportunity to be around 3 of these amazing guys. We laughed with each other, we cried with each other, we grew into men with each other. So it is an honor to share with you a candid conversation with these men. Also in the group, we have Brian. Brian and I didn't get a chance to spend many years around each other. However, ever since we've met, it was an instant connection, a kindred spirit, some would call it. But Brian exemplifies a Renaissance man. So I hope you take great pleasure in listening to the unique but heartfelt perspectives.
In 2012, it was a monumental United States Supreme Court ruling. Miller is the monumental case that said it was unconstitutional to give juveniles mandatory life. And most of us on this call directly benefited from that monumental Supreme Court ruling. So tell us, where were you when you heard about Miller?
I was in Stateville Correctional Center. I was actually talking to my lawyer, and she was like, look at the news. It ruled that Miller was ruled that it was unconstitutional to give us mandatory natural life. So I was in my cell when I seen it on the news, and I was like, yeah, it's on and popping.
So I was in Menard Correctional Center. It changed my perspective. It put me on a more positive level. I knew in my spirit that I was coming home, as opposed before it was always just, hoping for a blessing, a wish.
So it made it retroactive. So it took me like 3 years to have my ruling upheld. I'm grateful that I never gave up and I fought, and here we are.
I had 30 years in when the Miller decision had came down. I went in at 16 and I come home at 50. Y'all understood that it was a great responsibility on us to do it right. So, and that's what allowed me to just take my time and just go through the process and not push it so hard.
The blessing that is prison, it gives you a lot of time to focus on certain things. It helps you get laser focused on the things you want to accomplish before you come home.
Tell us about, how you feel about, some of the guys that you left behind.
The guys I left behind in prison are dear to me. A part of me was left there because them guys was with me every hard part of my life for the last 29 years. You build bonds, you build relationships closer than blood.
I feel sad because I know some of them might not never walk these streets again, and that COVID is taking some of them out already. It's hard because they don't have the opportunity to escape COVID.
You get tired on them days when you don't feel like it. It's a reminder, man. It's a brother go call you right now that wish he can do what you did, wish he had the ability to do what you can do. It's motivation in the world to have them on my back. And on them days where the streets, the nuances of the streets, you close to loss. You got people that's dying left to right.
Best thing I can do is send them pictures and let them know, man, I can't do much, but I'm always send you something to brighten your days. I love them more than I love my family, because that's who I grew up with. That's who helped raise me. So that's why I always say I was born in Chicago, but I was raised in Illinois Department of Correction.
So these are the guys that we shared noodles together. We fought together. They are family. I get at least 2-3 calls a day, and I do what I can to try to make sure that the example that I'm setting can kind of lay a foundation for when they're released.
Tell us about, what freedom looked like, what it feel like to you
Freedom is magical, man. Freedom is the ability to bring different ideas into light, rather it be art, rap, whatever the case may be. I used to want to bring it to light.
Car is like my freedom. You know, I just jump in the car and just go ride. Like I wasn't able to do that for 29 years.
That freedom comes with just, it brings so much joy to life. It puts everything in perspective for me, having the contrast of not ever being able to manifest the day you want to, you know?
You know, I'm at that stage where I brush off everything. I'm free. Wake up next to my fiance. I'm playing with my grandbabies.
Everything that comes with my freedom, the ability to eat when I want to eat. And I'm a fat boy in a skinny man body.
January be 4 years I've been home. This is the first time I just got my own apartment 2 months ago. First time in 53 years that I've not had to share a bathroom with somebody.
Everything that I was deprived of for 29 years, that's legit. You know, I try to have fun, you know, and enjoy life, because these days you never know what's gonna happen next. So
Adolfo, you work with youth. What is it that you've seen since you've been home?
enjoy helping our young generation out, because who better to help guide them than people like us that been through it. I try to share with them. At the end of the day, it's up to you to decide where you want to be, in a prison, in a grave. It's your decision.
Share them the truth of what it is to be strip searched, or your family to be strip searched when they come to see you. I tell them what it's like when you find out who your real family and who your real friends are. And I let them know that, unfortunately, you may have been born and brought up in horrible circumstances that weren't your fault. But you can't always make good, you have to make the right decision. And I explain to them what 40 years look like. When I go around, I take my picture of my mug shot and I show them when I was 16, and I show them the newspaper clipping of when I was released. That time waits for no one, and this system is not fair.
And so for me, I try to do my best to record the times, to put the times in perspective for people to have another outlook, you know? So that's my duty, I feel like, right now. Being able to explain for yourself, being able to write it out on a piece of paper like a math problem, see it, and then be able to learn how to compartmentalize what you're going through while you're in prison.
To let them know your decision is going to end up in one of three places: the penitentiary, the graveyard, or success. Which one are you going to choose?
Can you give us a little bit about, gun violence from an impacted individual?
It's amazing how you come full circle. 29 years ago, you couldn't catch me without a pistol. And now I don't want to be around one. I've watched gun violence take away people that's very near and dear to me on both ends, for the more being killed and the ones going to jail for doing the killing. Yeah, I'm really anti-gun. I don't see no good in it. And there's be a time where I couldn't be without one.
I teach them, man, you got to think before you act, because you're not just hurting yourself, you're hurting your family too. And put the gun down, because it ain't gonna do nothing. When you take somebody else's life, you just took your life and that person's life. And that you don't have to pick up a gun to show that you're a man. A man is being able to walk away from the situation and be like, I forgive you.
I carry the burden on my shoulders that I'm always being watched, and I want to go somewhere. If I want to go across state lines, I have to get permission. And even though I'm off parole now, it's a challenge. I still carry that burden. Even though I'm out physically, I'm still connected to a system. Am I happy in that piece? I'm trying to find that, but it's a struggle. And I'm still trying to figure it out, honestly.
Continue this work and help them move on to college to be the next Supreme Court judges, the next judges and prosecutors, and right prosecutors
To be able to be in a position to really contribute and give back and help those who've been through what I've been through, that gives me my life purpose, which kind of gives me a sense of freedom to be able to do that in an unrestricted way, unlike when we was on the inside. So that gives my life purpose.
As an artist, tell us a little bit how you use your artistic side to, the different ways that you express your art as to, some of the social justice issues that you may encounter.
A lot of times while I was incarcerated, I used to do spoken word, and it was funny how I could move emotion of a judge. After the call, they'd be like, man, you had judges in there crying. You had lawyers in there crying, prosecutors in there crying. I use this to try to bring a human aspect to the prisoner, because a lot of times we get seen as a number. We get never seen as a person who made a mistake or a person who was making the best decision in his life at that moment. I try to do is paint a clear image so that you understand the reason why a situation happened. My duty as an artist is to just try to change the narrative of what a prisoner is. And so I want people to know the worth that's behind these cells, because a lot of times they forgotten about. We the forgotten souls that nobody want to deal with.
So Stephen, you were the first person in Illinois to be released with the Miller ruling. How has that been for you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Sometimes I feel that I'm not where I should be, but that's pressure that I put on myself, because the people that are around me say, man, you doing great under the circumstances, but I'm not satisfied. I'm finna get ready to go to law school, at Northwestern. I've come to learn that nobody gets anywhere by themselves or by their own. It's who you know. It's people who opens doors for you. And that's good, because that gives me the motivation to get up every morning and try harder to share my story. And that's what prison is looked at as a graveyard full of dry bones, So I'm trying to change the story, change the narrative here for them brothers that's still in there.
If there's one person that you had to talk about, through your experience, can you tell us about that person and that relationship?
I want to speak to a brother named Harold Hagerman. You might know him as Mac. For Mac to show me the form of the excellence that he was able to display to me when it came to rap is what I'm talking about. If it was anybody that can credit, and that's given that my story is a success, at least making it out was a success. If I can, with the stable mind that I have, is definitely accredited to him and everything he taught me. So I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, man. It gave me the platform to not only help myself, but help others.
My mother knew that her son was guilty, but my mother loved me. I'm talking about, she loved me more than anybody can love a person. I lost her a few years ago, and it took me losing her to really recognize how much she feel my life.
Tell me about the situation that you came home to.
Okay, I came home to live with my boss, Jobi Cates. She want to restore justice. This person trusts me around her children and so yeah, and then gave me a job and was patient with me, and like always had time for me, whether it had something to do with like how to work the laptop or just something that was on my mind. And I used to think that if some people, when people are too nice, they got a hidden agenda. I never thought that a person could really be pure as they portray. So yeah, Jobi, yeah, she's my hero.
First, like to make mention of a really great friend of mine, Melissa. I can definitively say, without her tireless efforts, I wouldn't be able to share this space with you tonight. She's going through something. But Melissa, I need you to know, I love you, RJ love you, and we will win this bout too. I was asked to talk about one person that was a constant in my life throughout my 25 years. That person is my mom, Diane Fields. She's a friend, she's my mentor, she lends an ear. Above all, she's my mom. I often reflect on the road she's traveled, and I can say, this woman is resilience. I marvel at her accomplishments. I guess what I'm trying to say is, Mom, I'm proud of you. I thank you. I thank you for always believing in me. Thank you for never turning your back on me. I can't start to think what that 25 years would have been like without you. But knowing what it was like with you, I have all the appreciation in the world for you and moms like you. So it's only fitting I pass this to a mom, a champion for all things juvenile justice related, one who really cares about the struggles of the incarcerated, Julie Anderson.
My name is Julie Anderson. I'm the Outreach Director at Restore Justice. I want to thank Wendell and our other panelists for sharing their stories. I care about this because my son Eric was sentenced to die in prison at the age of 15. He is now 40 years old and has been incarcerated for 25 years. I had no idea that such a sentence even existed, especially in the United States. On June 25th, 2012, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that a mandatory life sentence for anyone under 18 was cruel and unusual punishment. Eric would be given a second chance. In 2017, he was resentenced to 30 years, and he now has a release date of May 2025. If he had been 1 week past his 18th birthday, he would not have received this second chance. When this happened to Eric, I felt very alone and isolated. I had to learn to live with the fact that he shot into a van on a December evening and two 13-year-old girls inside the van were killed. I had to learn to live with the fact that he would die in prison. No amount of rehabilitation, no amount of good behavior, no amount of change in him would bring him home. I had to learn to live with the fact that in my most important role, that of a mother, that I had somehow failed. I had to watch my beloved son endure untold hardships and mistreatment, to try and grow up in one of the harshest environments our country has to offer. Lastly, I had to watch Eric come to grips with the pain and suffering he had caused. It was then I began organizing, and CRIC, Communities and Relatives of Illinois' Incarcerated Children, was born. I learned I was not alone, and when the burdens became too heavy, I could lean on one of my fellow moms who knew exactly what I was going through. We could count on each other. We learned we could make a difference, not only in our own children's lives, but in the lives of others. When someone you love is incarcerated, the road is difficult and lonely. There are not many places to turn to for support or encouragement. CRIC is that place. We often talk about doing time along with our loved ones. No one does that time the way a mother does. Our next panel features 4 mothers who have been with their sons every step of the way, most for decades. They visit, write, try to change laws, counsel, send money, send photos, answer phone calls, no matter where they are or what they are doing. These moms, and all of the moms in our group, are my heroes. I'm happy to report that Eric did grow up, and as a mom, I'm so very proud of him. He never let his environment define who he was, and he has strived to become the very best version of himself. And he is not alone in this. Inside prison, there are hundreds of Erics, and they are my inspiration. I want to go to Evelyn first. How or why did you become involved in CRIC?
My son Joseph served 29, close to 30 years. He was 17 when he was charged with 2 cases of homicide. I became associated with CRIC, and that is where I started attending meetings and met most of these beautiful moms there.
So as we gather to tell our stories, we start meeting and begin to meet with different ones, mothers coming in with different backgrounds and with different stories with their loved ones. My son's name is Cedric Cal. Cedric had been wrongfully convicted for 2 homicides. Cedric spent 28 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. I felt so alone and that I didn't know that nobody else hurt like I hurt, felt the pain that I felt until I got involved with these women here in this meeting these last 15 years that I believe that we've been fighting for justice.
My name is Cynthia Morfin, and I have a son, Nicholas, who is currently 42 years old, who at the age of 17 was sentenced to life without parole for a murder. As soon as he got out the door, they put the handcuffs on him and told him he was arrested for murder. We tried to see him every day after that, and we weren't able to. I didn't get to see my son for a whole month when he was arrested, and they took him out at 3 a.m. It was just horrible. That CRIC is my safe haven. Then I started hearing the other horror stories, and I started coming to the meetings. I've been going there for over 17 years, maybe. I'm not sure how long exactly. And I think that helped me not go through a nervous breakdown. I'm going to be honest.
Erin, I believe that your story with your son is a little bit different. And how did you hear about us? And please tell us a little bit about your son.
My son, Kane, was 20 years old when he was convicted of a nonviolent drug crime. He was sentenced to 20 years in prison. I was devastated, as I've heard you all say. I was also extremely alone. I didn't really have anyone in my community to turn to. So I started to look online, and actually my mom found the Restore Justice program. And it wasn't until I met Julie that I actually realized I wasn't alone. And even more so, I finally felt empowered. So then being a part of this program and being able to hear other mothers and what they're going through has been extremely helpful.
Erin, when your son went to court, when he was first arrested and went to court, did you feel that you had family support? Did you have any community support?
I didn't have really any support. I had my family, thank goodness, but otherwise, you talk about prison, to most people, you kind of get the same response, at least I did from most, kind of that, oh, well, he must have done something wrong, so he got what he deserved type of thing. And I felt so broken, so fragile at the time. I wasn't ready for those unsolicited responses. Kind of just crawled into a hole, and I just tried to help Kane through it. So no support.
But as years went on, I just felt that people just did not know what to say. And rather than say the wrong thing, they didn't say anything. So yes, I was lonely. I decided to go the last few times to court with my son. And it was like a light was on me. Felt like I was responsible for him being there. But as the years went by and I was associated with the CRIC family, They went to court with me. We went to court together whenever their loved ones were there. And I remember Cindy saying, wow, Evelyn, my story is just like yours. Olivia and Julie, our stories were the same.
Olivia, I spoke a few minutes ago about Miller v. Alabama in 2012, which would give our sons a second chance. Do you remember where you were when you heard that news and what you thought?
But when we got that news that our children will be able to use the Miller to help with their case, oh, Julie, what a joy. What a joy. What a joy. That Miller thing that came forth, it felt like another chance that we're given.
This is such good news. I know he's going to come home. Then I was telling everybody, he's going to get another chance. It's unconstitutional. Yeah, I was dancing in my room by myself. I was so happy.
We often say that we do our time alongside our loved one, alongside our son. Aaron, your son Kane received a 20-year sentence. How do you do that time alongside him? And tell me, what has COVID meant to you and to Kane?
I do the time, I guess, alongside of him by trying to stay as connected to him as I can. By letters, we try to read books. Probably one of the most important things was that I could go see him, every few weeks. So for the first 2 years that he was incarcerated, we didn't really have to think about the big number. We just had to think about making it for a few more weeks when I could come and see him again. And with COVID, I would say that has been the biggest challenge, is just not being able to see him. It's been 8 months now, and it's hard. It's very hard.
Drake was still incarcerated when COVID hit. But with everything else going on, I want him out of there more than I want the COVID to spread.
One thing, when we got ready to leave, my salutation was to put my hand up to the wall, the glass. And that was how we said goodbye until the next time. The journey is lonely. And now we're much, much older. Our guys are experiencing COVID as though it was not enough that they were incarcerated. They were not cleaning, and they was already being scrutinized. You all can't hear from them. They have lessened all the calls. They're not getting cards and letters like they should. And so I just pray for the guys that are yet there and yet struggling and coming back and forth to court. I knew that it was two different worlds. He was in one world and I was in another. And I would often tell him, I told him everything that happened out here so that he can feel a part of the family. Family was very important to him.
Aaron, you're pretty new to the group. You're our baby. And you and your dad, I had met you only about a month earlier, and you and your dad drove to Springfield and met the group and did some work there, speaking with legislators. And I don't know that what we were working on even would directly affect Kane. And why would you do that work?
I felt like I was doing something. I felt like I was helping someone, no matter who it was, another mother, another son. And I hope that I can continue to do that. I hope that I can help other people who are in my position never feel as isolated as I did. And I hope that I can help those young men too. I hope that I can work with you guys. I can help you.
Olivia, Cedric has been released, and yet here you are, still helping our cause. I know you're always the first one on the bus practically to go to Springfield. You've talked to your legislators many times. And why would you continue to be involved in this work?
I always have been a drum major for justice. And yes, I will continue to fight for justice. In every area of my life, I seek justice in every area of society. I seek it peace. I seek justice for our family. I seek justice for anybody who's been wrongfully convicted.
You are always there to participate. And why would you continue to do the work when you know Nick will be coming home anyway?
People were there for me, and I want to be there for the next person that needs help. Nick is so thankful. He wrote a letter to someone, and I want to share part of it with you. Exoneration would be beautiful for so many reasons, but I don't really care about it. I'm living the dream. Literally, for 25 years, I dreamt about life outside those walls. I will do the last 10 months on my head because there is no stopping us from living the life that we always wanted. There's no more bad days. You could just see the maturity when he writes and he talks to people, and how when he writes letters like that, I'm proud of him. I'm so proud of him.
All the friends and all the ones that he ran with, all of them were killed, lost their lives. They had come to me many a day. I would be visiting him in a graveyard. He wouldn't have been living. And just keep the faith. And I'm assuming this is why we're still hanging in there. And we have to remember in all of this that we are all in this together.
Thank you all so much. I know that all have shown such strength during your son's incarceration. You've worked hard to help other people that are incarcerated. And you are truly my heroes. Thank you.
I am Wendell Robinson, and I am program manager. Basically, I will be doing what I do, whether or not Restore Justice paid me to do it, especially because I am formerly incarcerated. I connect with guys who are coming home from prison and guys who are still incarcerated, offer them support, positive advice, and just listen to them. I bring a group together once a month to learn about issues that impact us all. I started the apprenticeship program to give other guys a chance to learn how to do this work, how to lead.
As the outreach director at Restore Justice, I work to bring new people into the work. I connect with other mothers who are suffering because their child is incarcerated for decades. I write letters and cards to men and women in prison. I speak at events, meet with legislators, and when we are not in a pandemic, I travel around the state to change hearts and minds on what it means to be a violent offender. That it's not a person who is violent. It is something they did, often early in life. Earlier, you saw a slideshow about how we were formed and what we have done in just 5 years. I hope we gave you a unique insight into Illinois' criminal legal system. You heard from 5 formerly incarcerated men and 5 women with incarcerated or recently incarcerated sons.
They represent the heart of who we are and why we exist.
They represent the heart of who we are. They're why we exist. They're why I'm here. And hopefully they're why you're here too. We are proud of what we've accomplished, but really we've only scratched the surface of a system that's unnecessarily chewing up the lives of thousands of Illinoisans, mostly Black and brown, mostly poor, people who've been punished enough, people who need our state leaders to stop operating this cruel and often mindless system long enough to make some hard choices.
COVID-19 reshaped everything. It brought the practical reality of helplessness, of powerlessness, to our front door as we listen to crying mothers and wives, cousins and sons, brothers and grandmothers, in fear for their incarcerated loved one's life.
Some of those loved ones have sickened and died, and we've listened to their mother's despair and rage that nothing was done sooner. Our job is to take their tears and their rage and translate it as best we can for our governor and other elected officials. We generate solutions, we push them forward, we do our best to make sure they're heard. And at times over the past 8 months, it did feel like we were screaming into a vacuum.
But at other times, there has been a glimmer that what we are doing is working. Maybe not as fast or as perfect as we want, but enough to know we are on the right path. One of those glimmers came from our sister organization, RJI. RJI worked so hard during the election to highlight candidates of both our parties who might want to make our state more compassionate and equitable on criminal legal reform. In the 2 races where we put down large investments, those candidates won against all the odds. Those 2 individuals may change the math on criminal legal reform in the coming years.
We've been campaigning every single day for an improvement in conditions in prisons, which has included an increase in early releases and an increase in testing of incarcerated people. And this has been very frustrating. We've been frantic. But recently we have learned that the department now plans to test at least staff regularly. It feels late and it feels like half a loaf, but it's a start, and it's far, far better than the treatment that people who are incarcerated were getting in the first 7 months, 8 months of this pandemic.
While the trend in pandemic-driven early release data from prisons still shows that proportionately far more white people have been released early than their Black counterparts, IDOC and Governor Pritzker now know they are being watched. There is so much more we want and need to do as the pandemic becomes a part of our past and not such a monopolizing part of our present.
There's so much more we want and need to do than working on this pandemic, but it's what we have to do right now. But let me just remind you of a few of the things that we've got coming. One is we still need to reform the felony murder statute. You remember hearing about it last year at our event, if you joined us in person. We were on the precipice of passing a felony murder bill when COVID hit. Senator Peters and Representative Justin Slaughter were driving it home. So we need to make sure that that idea becomes a reality when the legislature reconvenes, to keep, again, mostly young Black men from being punished for first-degree murder when they didn't kill anyone. We also have sort of what's at the heart of who we are, is abolishing juvenile life without parole. We worked with Representative Mayfield last year to craft and file a bill that would eliminate all juvenile life without parole. No child would be sentenced to life in prison, really to die in prison. And we want to join the other 17 states that don't employ this practice at all.
We still have aspirations to do a deep dive on accountability theory, which, like felony murder, is often used to sweep up young Black people in significant numbers, obscuring the true nature of violent crime and punishment in our state and filling our prisons with people who do not belong there. People who the state forgets are people.
The state is forgetting that these people are people. Perhaps most importantly, we need to engage in a new and much more difficult campaign with public officials in both parties to stop pretending that our problems are not rooted in racism, because they are. For too long, polite policy debate has obscured the impact of race on our entire criminal legal system. Arrests, paroles, convictions, treatment in prison, releases, and now even what happens after release are all designed to work against Black people. And it has to stop.
It has to stop now.
Because as it has with so many aspects of our lives, COVID-19 has exposed the truest and most insidious nature of racism. In very real terms, the racist criminal legal system is now killing people in prison, just because they're in prison, not because of anything they did. We've relegated several generations of Black men and women to a system that provides poor health care to begin with, and now that allows them to sicken and die without doing everything in its power to save them. And so it comes to this: we need your help. Our work continues only because of your support. We need you to do this work. Please donate and spread the word. You can text the word SSC20 to the number 44-321. And we're so grateful for you. Thank you.
Untold grave conditions. The adolescence of America endures daily. On weekends, we celebrate as if making it to Friday was a feat. This way of living gives birth to short-term thinking and sporadic decisions. Kids with overactive vengeance gives birth to long-term sentence schemes that shreds and shrivels dreams. It takes heroes away from daughters. War-torn murals of the fallen decorate the trenches. Artist riches blaring out the window of his life savings. These untold conditions convinced him that his ceiling was only 24 inches. Always feeling as if we're just minutes away from the grave or a prison. For 13 calendars, regret tried its best. Stress tried shimmying its way into my flesh. Anxiety tried to trick my lungs into submission. And on those nights I couldn't sleep, I just sung songs of forgiveness until that one night I stopped praying because I was tired of looking at ceilings. I almost gave in. But then I heard these whispers from these untold grave conditions. It said, you don't have to be chosen to make the right choices. It said that rage can be turned into roses, just give voice to the voiceless. It said to look within when there's no way out, because there lies an escape and everything you need to stay out. So be the change you want to see and show the love you wish you had. For me, I filled every pad with my thoughts, searching for that perfect line to get my point across, that it's insane that we could treat a child like an adult. At 17, I was thrown to Menard. And when I got there, I found it ironic that they told me I couldn't purchase cigarettes, but yet 3 years prior, I was able to be seen fit to be tried as an adult, then given a 25-year sentence. During this prison stint, I didn't become a product of my environment. Instead, I flipped the script and allowed for my surroundings to be a reflection of me. My goods started to spread as far as the mind could see. Pushed by a force of the fallen, I wrote, I rapped, I drew my way out of these untold grave conditions. I was always given a chance to survive. Now I'm searching for a chance at living. Thank you.